How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. I know it's been a while for me, but I'm officially back. It's been a long off season, but now we're in week 1 against the Bears, and the first official injury report has dropped for this game against the Chicago Bears, and it was a bit eye-widening and shocking to see. So to kind of start off with the Green Bay Packers injury report, starting off, we have David Bakhtiari, who's going to probably show up every single injury report throughout his entire career, especially with that knee injury and how the Packers are proceeding it. So as you can see here, he did not participate in today's practice and had a vet rest because of that knee. And the Packers are pretty much limiting his practice reps to try to keep him as fresh as possible, which seemed to actually help last season once they finally got him back on track. And this is probably going to be the case going forward. So hopefully he's still able to play at an all-pro level like he did last season, despite barely practicing, because it was easily shown when he got back on the field and played his left tackle position, he was still one of the best left tackles in the game and is definitely needed for this offensive line. So hopefully throughout this entire season, he will be healthy. Moving on, we have Romeo Doubs with a hamstring injury and also did not participate. He pulled that hamstring towards the tail end of training camp, and unfortunately, it might prohibit him from actually starting in week 1, as hamstring injuries, especially for the skill positions, they tend to linger and hamper those players, and you kind of don't want to rush them back, because if you rush them back too soon, they'll just re-pull it and they're out even longer. And adding on to that, we're going to look a little bit lower on the injury list, because this is where the shock came from, and it's gotten a little bit scary now. We have Christian Watson, who did not participate, also with a hamstring injury. And if you kind of remember from last season, he was hampered by a hamstring injury multiple times. And then when he finally got back, he had a concussion. So he's got already about 4 different times where he's been injured, especially with that hamstring. Hopefully it's nothing too severe. We'll know more tomorrow and get a better idea if he doesn't participate. But as of right now, seeing our first 2 receivers out with hamstring injuries and not participating is definitely not how you want to go into the season, especially with now Jordan Love at quarterback and even trying to figure out what we potentially have with them. And then to add to it, we have Dontavian Wicks, who would be one of the receivers to fill in for either Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson, also out. Well, not out, but he was a limited participant with a hamstring injury. So that's already our top 3 receivers, if you don't include Jaden Reed on the outside, who are not participating or barely participating due to hamstring injuries. So that is a bit scary going into this game against the Chicago Bears. And with that, it probably means we're going to probably rely on the run a lot more than we even expected to, but we'll see. Then moving on to the defensive side, we have Rashan Gary with that knee injury, was a limited participant. This one's not really too shocking. He's coming back from an ACL injury, and the coaches probably want to not fully make him come back, as they already stated during week 1 he's going to be on a snap count. So he's not going to play the entire game. They're going to be maintaining and watching his snaps, not to bring him on full throttle, and that makes sense. We don't want to rush him, especially after the ACL injury. He still has to get back into game shape and all of that. So as of right now, he was a limited participant due to the knee injury, but he's going to suit up bearing any other shocking injury or anything that might show up for week 1 against Chicago Bears. Then lastly, the last player on our injury report is Anthony Johnson Jr., but he was a full participant for this practice, but he is on the injury list with a knee injury. And so there's probably really nothing to worry about here. He was a full participant, so I expect him to be fully ready to go. And he is the backup safety behind Rudy Ford and Darnell Savage. And now with the potential of Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and Dontavian Wicks, lesser on the Dontavian Wicks since he was a limited participant. But if all 3 cannot go, that means that it's probably going to be more Malik Heath, who made the 53-man roster and was showing up during the preseason, and Samori Toure getting a lot of the snaps on the outside with Jaden Reed staying in the slot. But as of right now, unless they call someone up, our depth chart for receivers only Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Malik Heath, and Samori Toure. So hopefully not all 3 are out, because that would definitely hamper this receiving core. And if so, we're definitely going to depend on the run game a lot more. Lastly, for a look over at the Chicago Bears injury report, they have Jaquan Brisker, who is a limited participant, a defensive back. Dylan Cole, linebacker, who did not participate due to hamstring injuries. Seems to be a ongoing trend here. Eddie Jackson, defensive back with an ankle injury, who was a limited participant for them. And DeMarcus Walker, who had a calf injury, was also a limited participant. So something to keep an eye on, especially since that was one of their big free agents to help solidify that defensive line of theirs. And as well on our side, hoping that our receivers kind of make good strides and we're not out already with our top 2 receivers who were going to help lead the charge with our new QB1 Jordan Love. But let me know what you think down in the comments. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Pack Go.